Hey guys, how's it going? In this video, I'm looking at doing my indicators, which are completely shut. We've got some interior trim pieces that I found just from a guy who was scrapping his Volvo, and I fixed my rear back door, which had some locking issues. You couldn't actually really open it from the outside. So a couple things to do. I first started off with taking all the globes out of the indicators. These are all pretty crappy, but you just turn them and they sort of pull out, so there wasn't really any dramas there, any issues here. So it's pretty straightforward in terms of what we're doing there. In terms of actually trying to fasten these indicators into the slots they were supposed to be, I thought because there was a nut on the indicator itself that it needed to come off. You slot it in and then you reattach that nut from the inside of the car. And it will hold it into place. But no, that nut was actually supposed to be on the indicator itself, so I ended up spending however long taking it off, taking however long I needed to realize I was wrong and needed to go back on and putting it back together again. So getting the indicator out from its little housing here was pretty straightforward on the passenger side indicator. This, obviously the battery, I had taken that out at some point, but there was good clearance there and it was nice and easy to sort of reach that after fiddling around with the pliers for a while trying to get enough grip to even start to move the nut, which took a bit of a hassle, but after we got that loosened it sort of just fell straight out like so. So yeah, that's the old one there, completely shot. So this one that I'm putting back in its place, it's not really that great. It was a one that was given to me for free. It had been repaired. You can see there's a little bit of a crack in it if you look really close. I'm kind of hoping that it would be enough to go over the pits. At the time of installing it, I thought I'd give it a shot, but I've since actually bought a brand new one. So I'm waiting for that to arrive so I can install that one in this one's place instead. So one thing I didn't do very well when setting this all up is keeping track of which globe was which when I had to put them back in together again. So I'm quickly throwing the battery back in its spot and hooking that together to make sure that I actually put the indicator globe inside the indicator area. So we just jump forward to that there. There's a headlight, that's great. And I'm pretty sure, yeah, fantastic, I did it. I'm a real machine, I nailed it. Working on the passenger side indicator was actually a lot more difficult than the driver's side. There's a lot less clearance there in terms of getting your hand in and also getting a tool in to try and get that nut off the inside of the indicator there. So I had to move around a couple of things, including the air filter box and also some of that piping for the windscreen wiper water, because that's where that's located right there, behind the indicator. So I tried for a while. I thought I really don't want to take this all out. If I can just get it loose with my hand and sort of get it all the way out, that'd be great, but I had no such luck. But so this is just me dicking around with it for a while until I give up. So taking off the air filter box, it was actually the first time I looked at the air filter on this car. It's not the greatest or cleanest thing in the world, but it actually wasn't anywhere near as terrible as I thought it may have been. I thought this thing was absolutely going to be chocked with everything, dirt, leaves, not changed in a million years, but obviously it had been, I don't know, at some point recently, not 1 or 2 years recent, but it had been swapped over, which is good to see. Just means that hopefully it's been taken care of in the past. This nut was really starting to shit me off here. I think we spent a long period of time trying to take this off here. It just wasn't moving. It was almost like it been sort of stuck there. I sprayed it with a couple of degreasers and whatnot and just trying to get a bit of lubrication to hopefully try and loosen it up and sort of get those threads moving, but I had no luck at all with it. So instead what I did is I actually just broke it. This thing is beyond shot. It is 100% not usable. I never gonna use the game. It went straight in the bin, so I don't think I actually have any footage of me doing so, but I just ended up cracking it open and just pulling it apart. So that was a you know, am I going to lose sleep over it? No, definitely not. I hope none of you guys lose sleep over it. I hope no one's saying, wow, I really was looking for a passenger side indicator with no lens and broken interior pieces. If that's the case, I'm sorry. If you had been around, you know, I would have given it to you, but I don't think anyone actually wants this. So just taking out the bottom of the air filter box here, just get a little bit more room again, and sort of playing around with it, because I've never touched this stuff before. I don't know what's going on here, so I'm sort of just fiddling around with it at the same time, trying to learn what's going on at this part of the car, sort of trying not to break anything, which is, you know, always my goal, given that I'm scared that half the time I break something, I'm not going to be able to fix it or put it back together again. So there we go, like magic, just fast forwarding. I don't think I had any footage of it, unfortunately, but as you can see by the all the broken bits around, I just cracked it open and ripped it off, and so that eventually came off, and now we can put the new one in its place, which hopefully, you know, won't get as badly stuck as this one in however many years time. But just cleaning this up, getting any dirt and cobwebs and all sorts of good stuff out of there for now, and going to insert the new one, which again, this one is also a second-hand indicator. It's not by any means brand new or anything like that. It's got a little bit of scarring on it. I'm wondering if maybe when I go to polish it up and sand it back a bit, if it's going to improve it, but the sort of cracks that are on it, I'm not sure. Maybe I have to buy a new one, but I don't want to buy a new one for that straight away, because I think we'll definitely be able to get it registered with this current indicator as is at this point in time. Also, a bit of an afterthought, why am I putting the air filter box back together before putting the headlight in? I don't know, I just thought it was easy at the time, so I've obviously gone ahead and done that. So just fitting this second-hand indicator in now, playing around with the rubber, making sure it sort of fits in well, and sort of slots into place. It sort of, you know, didn't want to go in straight away, kept on popping out. I'm not sure if that was something that was misaligned. I'm pretty sure this rubber is pretty beat, but I don't know where I'm going to find that specific piece. I probably can purchase it online somewhere, but I just wanted to make do with what we've got. So fiddling around with that for a while until I eventually found, you know, the sort of positioning that I wanted. Pretty happy. Hand tightened the nut on the back, which I'm fairly confident. I really hope that I've gone back at some point in time and tightened it up the full way, but I'm not actually sure, so I might have to go back onto the car later on and make sure that that is actually not going to fall out when this actually gets on the road and I'm driving it again. Cool, and that is working, which is great. Now, on the inside of the car, it was actually missing this handle when I bought it. So I went and I went to some guy who was scrapping his 740, and they had a really cool red interior, which I'd not actually seen a red interior. I've seen the black, grey, the tan, the blue. I've never seen a red one, and unfortunately this car was basically beyond gone, especially given that a tree had fallen onto it on his property. But man, I would love to see a good example of a red interior Volvo. Either way, now I have a red handle of my driver's seat, so I may have to look at painting it at some point, but I'm not fussed by that at all. It just held in the trim in place because that was all hanging a bit loose. So the problem with this door was from the outside, I actually couldn't open it. The handle was really sticky and really stiff, and when you actually squeeze on the handle, it wasn't engaging the lock in the door at all. So I needed to have a look at that. I was concerned that if I try and take it to get registered one day, they're gonna try and open that door, but hang on, why isn't this opening? It's stuck, and it's probably something to do with safety and this and that and whatnot. It can open from the inside completely fine, but obviously I wanted to fix that up. So I'm completely winging this. I just wanted to try and take apart the door card here and have a look at what's going on inside, because I have no idea what's going on in there. I don't know how the handle lock even works. All I wanted to do was see, is there something obvious that's doesn't look right, or can I just sort of do anything and wing it and hopefully fix it? So taking this door apart, I was a bit cautious, trying to be a bit slow with everything. I didn't want to break anything, as the door cards are actually in really good condition. I'm really happy with that. I mean, there's like a minor little ding here and there on it, but honestly, compared to some of the door cards we see on these older cars, which they're absolutely torn to shreds, these ones are like mint. So looking at the inside of the door here, nothing super apparent first. I sort of start taking apart some of the bolts that are holding in the actual handle, just in a short while here, and sort of get a better understanding of how this works and what seems to be the problem. Now, one thing whilst going through this door, which I don't have any footage of, I need to get better at actually making sure I pick up the camera and actually film what I'm seeing, because unfortunately for all of this, you can only just see this angle of me sort of going at the door. But there's dust all on the inside of it. It's really gotten into everything, including what I suspect was the little door handle there as well, because all I ended up doing was just grabbing some sort of degreaser to sort of spray into the handle, and I wiped it down a bit and sort of played with that handle back and forth until it sort of like loosened up and whatnot. I've got my little brush there trying to brush out some of the dirt. But after just spraying it for a while and sort of cleaning it all out, it retained, it got back a little bit. I've still had some issues with it after the fact now. It started to get a bit tight again, so either way, I think I'll do all 4 doors at one point in time and just have a look inside all of them and just make sure there's nothing bad going on in there, as there is, I see a little bit of bubbling inside of some of the doors, so having a look at the extent of what that damage may be is probably a good idea to sort of treat that now. But at this point, I don't know where the footage went for it, but I've sprayed through the handle, I've cleaned it through, and now I'm just trying to put it back together again, which, thankfully went together quite well. I was a bit concerned that I was going to drop a screw down inside the door handle and sort of lose that. And then, I've since found out that the plastic there just sort of comes out really easy. I did take that out at some point and I managed to put it back easily enough, but I wasn't too sure at that point. I was like, oh, if I take this out, can I put it back in? So yeah, there we go. I'm taking it out now and having a look in there. I think I ended up actually vacuuming at this point because there's just a little swamp of sand and dirt down there, so I figured it can't hurt to clean it all up. But doing this door, I was pretty happy with myself, to be honest. I had nothing to go off other than just sort of winging it and trying it myself, and managed to thankfully take it all apart and put it together, and it ended up better than when I started, so that's a big victory for me. So it was really hot this day. I can't remember what day it was now, but man, it was absolutely hot, and the sun was getting to me even after just a little bit of being outside, so I thought, let's put this back together. So here we go. I think this is the first test. Obviously I don't know what happened there. I think it was actually in a locked position, but there we go. Very happy opening and closing that door. That all came together pretty well, so I was pretty stoked with that. Is it anything big? No, not really. It's a minor victory, but it made me happy, and it was another thing I could tick off my list. So now just putting this door card back together again really actually wasn't that big of a deal. It wasn't that hard once I sort of worked out where all the clips were and what needs to come off and in what order to sort of put it all back together again. So pretty happy with that. We'll be taking it off again in the future, like I said. These speakers, I think most of the doors are missing them, so I will be buying new speakers at some point. I mean, there's not even a head unit or radio in the front of the car at the moment, so I will be buying a new sound system, but that's so low on my priority list, I don't really care about that at the moment. So putting it all back together again, and we're done. So pretty stoked with that one. So yeah, managed to get the indicators on. I fixed up a little bit of that interior trim. It was just something I found while I was visiting a guy for the indicators. Oh, can I have that as well while I'm here? So pretty happy to get that on and fix this back door. Not an enormous amount of work, but I didn't have too much time this weekend. So in the next episode, I'm looking at trying to get started on the exhaust. I managed to actually buy a secondhand downpipe and catalytic converter that I need to throw into the car to replace my broken downpipe and also the missing catalytic converter. But not everything really went to plan with this, so I kind of got distracted with doing other little random bits and bobs. But I look forward to showing you that one, because I couldn't even really confidently get the car up and be confident in going underneath it, because I've never really raised the car before. So I look forward to showing you my solution for that problem. So yeah, stick around for the next one, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.